2, 3, 4.
Ohio gozaimasu, watashi no ki odaisi nai. And good morning, my brothers and sisters. This is our 18th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I am one of your hosts, the backlog gaming Brazilian mountaineer, Lucas Ham. Also to my left, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news, the quiet man himself, Patrick Novosel.
All right, so was that Japanese?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, all right.
The guy who refuses to watch Superman but can make you laugh in 3 words or less, Ronnie Johantis.
Hello.
And last, but certainly not least, a man with music in his heart and Doctor Who on his brain, our very own little writing champion, Marc Boucher.
Hi. I'm still trying to recuperate from playing that masterpiece. But we'll get more into that.
Oh, no. You should have been riding on a high. That was one of the best streams I've ever watched.
It was a momentous occasion, just like this 18th episode. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We don't have cookies, but we have fun. And if it's not your first time, then welcome back. You should get an award. In fact, I think it's in the mail right now. Congratulations. So, guys.
Wait, what are we sending in the mail?
Don't worry about it. You didn't send
it. Hopefully that wasn't my part because...
Ronnie, you were supposed to send it. What are you talking about? I told you.
I thought it was Marc that was supposed to. I subbed that out to Marc.
He was busy being the champion. The little riding champion.
True story.
Put that double pressure on him.
You don't have an award in the mail. Nobody has any awards.
Yeah.
If I was in charge of it, nobody has any.
Man.
Good thing you're not in charge of it.
That's right.
Yes.
I actually put Marc in charge of that for some reason, and I forgot.
No!
Little riding champion. Sorry, Marc. Oh, man. So, guys, we are 1 week into the new year. How are those resolutions going?
Done.
Fantastic. Congratulations. You win 2019, Patrick.
That's impressive, man. 7 days in? Holy smokes.
I am working on it. I said I was going to get 12 platinums. I got 1 so far. I got the Madden 19 one.
Look at you.
Yeah. So working on a couple others right now, for sure. So I'm working on it.
All right. How about you, Marc?
Okay, confession time.
Let's hear it.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
So, I have done so far one of my New Year's
7
resolutions.
7 days?
Yeah, 7 days. I've done well. I've done one of my 2 resolutions.
Okay. Which one?
So I've streamed, for sure.
All right.
Unfortunately, I fell behind in my Bible reading, which is awful.
But you know what? It's early.
Yeah.
You got some. You just gotta take a little time.
That's some easy
Maybe
catching up to do.
Yeah, skip a meal, or don't go into work one day and
Or just listen to them.
Get to reading.
Yeah, man. While you're eating the meal, maybe.
Well, okay, fine. You can. That's not quite as hardcore. God's looking for hardcore readers here. So,
yeah.
How about you? Yeah, it's all right, man. At least you were able to get it out, and now I think it's going to help you do better. So, how about you, Ronnie?
So far, I agreed to watch all the Marvel movies. I have not watched one yet, but I think pace-wise, I'm still in good shape for the 365 days since we're only 7 in.
Yeah, don't forget about other movies, but maybe we'll talk about that later. Even though I already brought it up, I think, in your introduction.
I think you get a clean slate into the new year, to be honest.
Nope, sorry, that's not how it works.
Not off the hook, sir.
Not at all. I've been doing pretty good with mine. I think I've journaled out of the 7 days. I've journaled 3 or 4 days. I think 4 days I've journaled. I've been keeping up pretty well with my Bible reading. I've not gotten a platinum yet, but I did play some games, which I'll talk about in my update later. I also have formed a little bit of a support group on Twitter with our buddy Lim at Bad Gamer Elite, another guy named Benji Kong, that I stumbled upon in the Twitter sphere, and then also my buddy Ken in Pittsburgh at Kenneth DL. We all have the common cause of playing only our backlog games and not buying a game in 2019. So I'm quickly forming a little support group. So we're going to keep each other accountable and keep the good times rolling.
Nice.
Beyond that, before we got into the thick of things, I wanted to wish you guys a happy pizza week. It started yesterday, and it's all this week.
All right, what kind of pizza?
Any
pizza?
That's the beauty of pizza. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Some pizzas I'm like, that's not a happy pizza. I mean, like you throw some gross ingredients on it. It's like how can you celebrate with that?
What do you mean by gross ingredients?
Don't put anchovies on it. Don't put anchovies.
Yeah, I need to know as well.
Oh yeah, no anchovies. I can get behind that. That's absolutely disgusting.
Don't say, hey, let's get to
pizza.
2 times the mushroom toppings. Well, like what are you doing? What are you doing here?
See, I love mushrooms.
Oh, mushrooms are good.
2 times
Did
mushrooms?
you say 2 times? Oh, 2 times mushrooms.
See, like I can handle
double?
mushrooms on it, but don't double up. And I can't do that.
Well, I mean, it depends. If you're a fun guy like Ronnie.
You know somebody who doubles up?
I don't know. Just
Yeah, is this a personal attack, Patrick? Who you personally?
Oh, no. Or put salad on a pizza? Like don't do that.
Salad.
If you want salad, just have a salad.
True story. Preach it, brother. Preach it, brother.
Now, here's what I want to know is what are your preferred toppings? Like, I'd like each of us to just share real quick in honor of Happy Pizza Week. What are your preferred toppings?
Bacon
Mark, go.
and pepperoni.
Oh, no.
Oh, yep.
Patrick.
Sorry.
Too late.
Oh, no.
Go ahead,
I
Patrick.
retract
You already
it.
said
Mark,
it.
you go.
Say it again, nice and loud. Loud and proud.
Bacon and pepperoni.
All right. Sounds good. I can
Pretty
get behind
much
that.
all the meats.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say with Patrick's, you got 2 good meats. Why don't you just put more good meats on it? So
Absolutely.
I could like throw some sausage and ham on there for sure. Yeah. Why not?
For sure.
True story. I actually had pizza tonight.
Oh, look at you celebrating Pizza Week.
Yeah.
Good job.
Getting off to a good start.
Yeah. How about you, Ronnie? Double mushrooms?
It is not double mushrooms. I do like mushrooms on pizza, but I don't normally get it. My favorite thing on a pizza is like chicken and mushrooms, like caramelized chicken. I was talking about mushrooms. Chicken and onions.
Oh, okay. I'm like caramelized mushrooms. I don't think I've ever had that.
Dude, last time I had mushrooms on a pizza, I threw up like horribly. So, needless to say, I don't put mushrooms on a pizza.
Because of the mushrooms, or you were just sick?
Well, I was only sick for one night, so I'm assuming
sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes.
Did you also eat a bunch of candy by any chance?
Negative.
Spoiled your dinner.
Shame on you. Shame on you, sir. You have been busted.
I did not have candy. I did not.
Well, my favorite toppings on a pizza are sometimes controversial, much like socks with sandals. But I love me a good old-fashioned Hawaiian pizza with ham, pineapple, sometimes bacon, depending on if it's properly crisped.
Now, that is a very divisive,
bold
statement to say that you like Hawaiian pizza.
I will fight you right now. That is an abomination.
I will fight you first.
I am on board with
you. All right, let's everybody else vote.
I will fight you harder.
Yeah, we're on the same team. I like that pizza too.
Ah, good. I got Ronnie on my side. That's good enough.
Abomination.
No, let's save the bad villain talk for later, okay?
True story.
Beyond that, we don't have any other holidays we need to talk about. But we do have a celebration that we need to talk about, and that is we celebrated 10 reviews this past weekend. 10 iTunes reviews. Woo-hoo. Isn't that right, Mr. Mark?
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Now, I know we're going to get into your personal update later, but let's go ahead and just share about your experience about becoming the Little Riding Champion.
No.
How was it?
He's my Little Riding Champion.
For those For those that are joining us for the first time, we got 10 reviews last week, and for those 10 reviews, Mark agreed to do something crazy, and the craziest thing he could think of was to buy the girliest video game that he could find, pay $15 for it, and then play it this past Saturday for a good couple hours and love it to death, to tears almost. And we got to experience it with him. So, Mark, go ahead. Tell us about becoming my little riding champion.
The word jank does not even begin to scratch the surface of what this game was, but it almost comes around to exquisite because of that. And it was more so enjoyable because we had other people involved laughing along with me, including yourself, Lucas.
Yes.
But yeah, the graphics were basically like PUBG game preview graphics.
Whoa.
I mean, is that really fair? One, how many people do we know that actually know PUBG graphics?
PUBG was an artist's tapestry compared to this game.
This is like PS2 game, right?
I don't even know if it was like late PS1 game.
PS1 and a half. PlayStation 1.5D.
Yeah, it was bad. Like it was like
pretty bad.
It was like Game Boy Advance graphics.
And the voice acting was like Shenmue levels of voice acting, or
Shenmue.
Phoned it in is like I think most of them literally phoned it in. That's how bad the voice acting was. Like it was all stagnant. Like I just remember we were talking about this before the recording the podcast. Like the one line was okay, fine, bye, and it was just all the voice acting was horrible, and the inflections were just way off. There, believe it or not, was an actual story to it. Apparently, your character, her uncle has died and has left to her this huge riding stable, I guess, kind of thing.
Yeah, and the beginning of the game, I mean, they just totally blow past it and dumb it down so you have no emotions towards it. She's like, oh, okay, so my uncle has died. I guess I have to take care of this ranch. It's like, what? It's like, oh, all right.
And I love how
see you later.
The first 45 seconds is like info dump central, and it's hilarious. It's like, I remember when my uncle used to bring me here when I was a kid, but he's gone now. And I was like, what? He's dead? And then another character confirmed that. He's like, your uncle has died. I'm like, okay, that confirms it.
I guess so.
But yeah, so apparently he has bequeathed to her this riding stable. And the just so happens, thanks, uncle. The place is in financial a financial downturn, and basically the only way that you can save this riding stable is to enter this tournament, this horseback riding tournament, and win first place, because then you'll get money and it'll save the stable. So yeah, thanks, uncle. And then, of course, they introduce your arch rival, Cornelia, who
talks like a 50-year-old smoker. But
yeah, absolutely.
But looks like a 25-year-old, horse riding champion, I guess.
Yeah,
champion.
And,
hey, but at least, Mark, your uncle gives you the most beautiful Dalmatian colored spotted horse with blonde hair that you've ever seen in your life. I mean,
there was one point, Mark.
That was one good looking horse, man.
You took the horse back to the stable and you were cleaning it. You're like, oh, this is just dirt. And you're cleaning it. Nope, that's still Dalmatian spots.
Yep, that's the actual horse.
Well, I've seen horses like that before that have spots like that, but never with a blonde mane like that.
Well, it's like a woman's. It's like a woman's blonde hair. I've never seen a horse with that kind of hair. Even
it's curled and everything.
Yeah. And the first thing that they have Barbie you do, of course, is clean the horse off because the horse is apparently dirty, which you randomly find the horse in the forest.
Well, it's grieving for the uncle. No one else is grieving for the uncle, so the horse might as well do it.
So you're a horse thief now as well?
Yes.
Well, it's your land, so technically your horse. But yeah, you basically have to follow its hoof prints, and it leads you into the forest where you find this horse. And then no sooner do you meet your horse, which I named Tartarus.
Very appropriately.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. Then you meet Cornelia, which, as Lucas mentioned, sounds like a 50-year-old chain smoker. And then, of course, you have to take the horse back to the riding stable, and you have to clean the horse off, as we talked about. So there were 3 different ways you clean the horse off. And it basically, when you do that, it improves the morale of your horse. It listens to you more. And so... I still can't believe I'm talking about this game, but
I have
why wouldn't
flashbacks of The Quiet Man, and we're trying to review that game.
But you know what, Mark? This game was a hit with my kids. I mean, they asked me. I'm pretty sure today they asked me, "Is he going to play more of that game?" And then they laughed and giggled. I don't know that I would take that as a compliment to the game or your writing skills, but still, they wanted to watch more. They
just
were
know
having a good time.
They just know good comedy when they see it.
Yeah,
you're just an entertainer, Mark.
Yep.
You are natural
dance,
entertainer.
monkey, dance.
Mm-hmm.
But no. So then, obviously, you got to clean off the horse, and apparently, you have to like clean underneath its hooves, which apparently you have to. It looks like you have to clean crap off of its hooves, which was interesting. And so then it's all good, and the horse is all happy with you and stuff. And and the controls are janky as all get out. You can't really move the horse very well. The horse is not responsive, especially when jumping. You have to probably time your jumps about 2 seconds earlier than you think you should. Because it was just awful. And you saw evidence of that when I was doing the training. Because trying to... Basically, you'd have this point where you'd enter into a training field or whatever, and they had like those little... I don't even know what you call them. The things that the horse jumps over.
Jumping posts?
I guess.
Yeah.
And basically you had to jump over a series of those in order to level up your horse. And the first several times of trying to do that were very difficult because trying to maneuver the horse and get it to jump when it's supposed to is a nightmare in that game.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at the end of each and every day, you basically go back to your house and go to sleep. And also, you can change the wardrobe and appearance of your character. So I changed my character to like 90s rocker chick, which was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a part where you get to go into town. There's a nearby town, which the map is huge. There's really not a lot to do, but the map itself is huge. And so you go into town and you meet several people there. And you also do like little side missions where I literally had to take my horse and attach it to like a cart and deliver wood to someone. Like
a hermit.
Yeah, to a hermit who would not come out, and he was very mean. And like the worst part, this is the worst part I think of this game, was the fact that it made me take the long way around this big lake, and it took like 10 minutes to get to this stupid guy's house to drop off wood. And then for all of my troubles and all that time I spent doing that, the guy gave me $30. And I was like,
hey,
you suck.
That was a hard-earned $30. Now, Mark, I don't want you to give away the farm. So if our listeners want to check it out, you can find that video on YouTube. I think it's still on Twitch also. You can check out the adventures of Mark halfway through or two-thirds of the way through. My kids and I join him for the fun. and we join him on the journey. But you can check that out. Out of about 100 horse hooves, how many horse hooves would you give it, Mark, the game, in your first 2 hours of playing?
I give it one shaving of poop that I took off the horse's hoof.
Wow. That was very
that game
generous.
Wasn't that game like $20?
It was $15, and it was on sale.
Yeah, it was $20, and then he got it on sale for $15, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which was a big bargain, let me tell you.
Hey man, the things we do.
Here we are, and here's the big announcement. There will be a part 2.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say that.
So you'll have to pay attention to our Twitter feeds to find out when that's going to be. But yes, I will continue.
I cannot wait. I cannot
get ready
wait for this.
Apparently, there is a ghost in the game.
Yeah, when I heard about that trophy, you got to find that ghost, man.
Yeah,
some of these trophies have like 0% of people have gotten it, so it's all yours if you get one.
It's time for some Little Riding Champion Saturdays.
That's not a thing. Let's not make that a thing.
Shout out to Gabe Patillo and his Shenmue Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
That's now inspired Mark to do his own Saturday Twitch streaming. So the plan is from here, we have 10 reviews. When we get 5 more, I am going to do something crazy. So please like, subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes, and we will keep the good times rolling. And then once we reach 20, Ronnie's going to do something crazy. And then from there, who knows what's going to happen. We'll just go one step at a time, but it's definitely going to be fun. I don't know how I can top both Patrick's Hot Sauce Challenge and Mark's wonderful play Twitch stream of that beautiful game, but I'm going to do my best. So once we get 5 more reviews, we'll find out what kind of crazy thing I'm going to do from down here in Brazil. But in this podcast, we don't want people to just listen, but to connect and participate. So if you are new, check us out on the Discord, which is a type of super positive forum chat room kind of deal where a couple dozen folks from around the world chat together. And every week on Twitter, we send out our link. So check us out on Twitter at the GMG Podcast. If you're not following us already, we do updates and ask questions and give you a chance to write in for questions on the show and all that there. Also, you can give suggestions or ask questions through our email, thegoodmorningguys@gmail.com, or you can call and leave a message by phone at 929-GMG-GUYS. With that, guys, I think it's time for us to tell our listeners something good about what's been going on in our lives. So why don't we start out with Patrick? How's your week been going, buddy?
Well, the past week has been actually pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Since the
you
last
had me
time...
doubting for a moment.
So the last week, since the last time we podcast, so we had New Year's Day come along. So on New Year's Eve, we had my wife's brother, his wife, and their 3 kids, and then her dad came over just to hang out. They came over about 6:30, and they were here until about 12:30. And we just hung out, played a lot of the VR that I have. So they tested out Beat Saber, they tested out all my other VR, and then for about 4 hours, we played Jackbox.
Nice.
And we played Jackbox Party Pack 2 and 3. Those are the only ones that I have, but the fan favorite was Quiplash. They absolutely love that. So we played that for a long time. It was actually pretty cool because everyone could play. We had 6 people that were playing, including my daughter. She's 8, so she has we gave her one of those iPhone 5 old phones, so she was able to participate too. So
that's fun.
There were a lot when you're playing with an 8-year-old. You try to play to that audience. So there were a lot of poop jokes.
Of course. Speaking of poop, every time Mark cleaned poop off his horse in that game, my kids, they laughed so hard. They were just like, he's cleaning poop off that horse.
I bet they laughed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Young kids. You throw poop in there, they're gonna vote for you every time.
Oh yeah. When I want my kids to laugh and I don't know what to do, I'm just like poop, and they're just like,
exactly.
You're so
you get
funny,
a snicker,
Dad.
you get a chuckle
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we played that, and then all the kids. So we had four kids, 5 kids. Yeah, 5 kids.
What kind of language is that?
I don't know.
speak
it is
whale?
gibberish. It is. So
Okay,
there are
fair
3
enough.
kids. There, and then my 2 kids. All of them stayed up past midnight, which was the first time they all stayed up past midnight on New Year's Eve. So that was kind of cool to hang out with them and experience New Year's with them. We went outside and did fireworks and all that. So do some pop-its and things like that. So they had a great time. It was nice to actually do that. And then on New Year's Day, I did my stream for the opening 100 loot boxes in Overwatch while also telling 100 dad jokes. So
Yeah, you did.
that was an absolute blast to stream. And I streamed for it took about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. But it was kind of weird because I am telling jokes to no one, pretty much. I'm telling a joke and no one's laughing, no one's snickering. I don't get any reaction.
You're telling a joke,
other than
you're not getting feedback. Yeah.
all I'm getting is like a 5 to 10 second delay of boo or that was funny.
Yeah.
So
You're like,
yeah, it was.
You did well with it, though. I mean, it was obvious that it was a little uncomfortable. I unfortunately was very disappointed that I missed the actual stream, but I watched it later on, and
Yeah.
I think some of us in the group would definitely be willing to get on there and just be, canned laughter for you. Just be ready to laugh at the jokes in the background, or join you next time. But it was still funny. You had some pretty good jokes in there.
Yeah, I mean, 70 Overwatch jokes and 30 random jokes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. The Overwatch jokes went over my head, but that Too Fast, Too Curious joke with Sonic and Curious
Yes.
George, and then the other one that I really liked was Wii U, that Wii U joke with the
yeah.
the
So
ambulance.
if
Yeah.
anyone wants to check that out, it's on the Good Morning Guys YouTube channel, so you can catch that out in its entirety, hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
It's a good one you can just put on in the background and listen to the jokes while you're doing other stuff. That's what I did.
Right?
It was good.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a good one.
And then that's pretty much what I've done. Pretty much that's been different this past week. On the gaming front, I've taken a week off of Red Dead, and I took a week off of Call of Duty, only because pretty much my New Year's resolution, I wanted to platinum 12 games. So I was working on those. And my buddy Chris came over on Friday night, and we were working on the Madden 19 trophies together. I get playing Madden 19. My buddy and I would play almost every Friday night, and we play about 4 or 5 games every Friday night. So a lot of the trophies that I got just came naturally. So it wasn't really a grind or anything. But I finally on Saturday of this past weekend, I got the platinum for Madden 19, which only 0.1% of people have gotten. So I don't know if that's just because people don't go after platinums for sports games, or if it's tough, or if it takes too long. I have no idea, but it's one of those ultra rare trophies, so I was kind of excited to actually get that one.
Yeah, sports games in general, in terms of trophy hunting, can be really difficult because a lot of times either someone will only play multiplayer, or they'll only play by themselves, or they won't always play all the different options that you have in the sports games. And usually with those sports games, you have lots of options. And if you don't play all of those really consistently or, often enough, you're not going to get a lot of those trophies. So that's
Right.
that's really a good first trophy to get for the year. That's a very commendable trophy because those sports trophies are definitely hard to get.
For
Yeah,
sure.
and I think generally people who play Madden 19, they're generally not trophy hunters anyway. They're mainly just playing to play.
Right.
Or at least that's what I would assume. But I'm sure there are people out there that would go for that, including yourself. So.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really going for the platinum trophy on this one. I was just playing the game. And then after Friday night, I only had 4 trophies to get. So on Saturday, I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna play a couple hours and get these final 4 trophies. So
And that's the best way, yeah. Definitely.
yeah, it was not bad. So I was able to grab that.
That's
one.
great, dude.
Yeah,
For sure.
And then I'm also working on. So after that, I started working on the Onrush platinum trophy. Played a little bit with you, Lucas. Played a little bit with the community, Tim Pollen, this past weekend. So that was kind of cool. I am 2 trophies away from getting the platinum on that one. It's just only a matter of time. It's just completing the story, the campaign, or whatever it is, the challenges. So I'll probably get that one within the next couple weeks or so. And then actually last night I played a ton of Beat Saber. I probably played maybe about 5 hours of Beat Saber. And
Holy smokes.
Yeah, a couple of the trophies were difficult. You know, you had to get on expert. You had to get 15 songs without missing a note, and that was the most grueling, sweat-inducing experience. It was. I was very, very tired after that 5 hours, but I got all those trophies. I got the campaign trophy last night. So the only trophy, I only have 1 trophy left on Beat Saber until I get the platinum. So I'm really working on my resolution this year. So I should have 3 platinums, I would say, within the next couple weeks for sure.
Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
You are definitely ahead of the curve. That's great.
I am. So, but yeah, that is it for me. How about you, Ronnie? What's going on with you?
Well, I had a couple of things that are worth noting. The first one, and probably my favorite one. So if I am ever walking around the house and I come up with like a random thought, I have like Post-it notes that I have like setting on my kitchen. And it could be like a random thought to talk about on the podcast or whatever. So me and some of my friends stayed up on Saturday night playing cards until about 4 a.m. And I finally went to bed a little after that. And I woke up just in like a hazy sleep daze when I got up like on Sunday morning. And I was sitting there and I get a Pop-Tart out. And this Pop-Tart, they're blueberry Pop-Tarts, first of all, because they're the best.
All right. That's okay.
I'll allow it.
I pull out this Pop-Tart and one whole half of it is just crust. And the other half is like a Pop-Tart. This is like a mutant Pop-Tart.
What?
And the one half that's like, it was just the crust. There was just no filling, and there was no icing. It just was nothing. It was like a wafer.
That needs to go in the trash.
That's a
immediately.
ripoff.
Did you take a picture of this? Did you tweet
Burn
at
it.
Pop-Tarts?
Yeah, you need to tweet them. Regurgitate that and tweet it to them, please. Thank you.
I mean, I had a glass of milk. I just ate it.
Geez,
I wasn't happy about it either.
You got to up your standards, man. Come on.
I was on 4 hours of sleep. I didn't make a good decision.
Fair enough.
So, anyways, I think, and I'm not sure if this was because it was early morning and I was still tired because I went back to bed for like, 4 hours after this. But I'm pretty sure the second half had like twice as much filling. And then I thought to myself, what if they had double stuffed Pop-Tarts like they do Oreos?
Yes.
All right. Now that I
Why
can get
don't they
behind.
have that?
Why don't they have that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Speaking of tweeting at Pop-Tarts, there's another tweet opportunity at Pop-Tarts.
I feel like we need to get to the patent office.
You got to get the thing started on Twitter, man. Start tweeting.
Why don't we just start double stuffing everything?
Let's just create a movement, the double stuff movement, and you just double stuff everything in
I
your
feel
life.
like Oreo would sue us at that point.
They've already mega stuffed the Oreo, like they're already 2 steps behind with Pop-Tarts.
Well,
anyways,
so
that was my week basically. My week was very boring other than pretty much that. And obviously had friends over, had a good time on Saturday. But last night I discovered a game. When my buddies are over, we'll go and look, see if there's any free games out there or anything like that. And we downloaded this game called Rocket League, if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
I've heard the name.
So I had never heard of this game at all. And I rediscovered on Sunday that I had just downloaded the game because we downloaded on Saturday and ended up playing cards. And I played for like 4 hours last night of Rocket League, just online match play. Wow.
Yeah.
I just put down Red Dead Redemption to the side, and I'm like, all right, I'm playing these games. It's basically soccer with Hot Wheels.
That is correct.
True story, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It is.
Right?
It's so much fun. Yeah.
And it's actually, do you know, Ronnie, it's a sequel. The first game was called something to the effect of rocket cars. Shoot. I didn't look it up, so you can't fact check me on this, but it was like crazy, stupid rocket cars. Mark, help me. You're the video game guy. Save me.
Nope, I can't save you on this one, unfortunately.
This parachute's a knapsack.
Oh, did you know that this is a sequel to something I don't know?
To a game that I forget the name of, but it was really complicated and long. I'll
keep stalling,
post it
Lucas.
on Twitter. Stalling. I'll keep vamping. But it's crazy. That game, was it 2 years ago? It was free, Patrick, on PS Plus. I'm wanting to say it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I would say it's about 2 years ago for sure. Yep.
Yeah. So when it was first released on PlayStation, it was PS Plus. You could get it free, and it still sold like hotcakes. Like even though people had PS Plus, like it sold millions of copies on the PlayStation, and then it went over to Xbox, and it warms my heart, Ronnie, that you've discovered this game, because this game is fun. I know Patrick and I have both platinumed the game. If I had an Xbox, I would be playing with you right now. I'd say let's record later, or let's just play while we're recording. It would have been.
Oh man,
it would be worth
just
it.
Totally hooked me, and I realized, well, it's like 2 a.m. and I got to work. Like, like I got to go to bed. It's like I got caught in the one more game like 35 times.
Yes.
The one more game mentality just continued for the entire night.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Lucas.
Uh,
I'm putting in the safety net for you.
What's it called?
It's called Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars.
Yes.
Is that an
Isn't
acronym
that
for something?
That's really the
Tartarus?
name of the game?
That's an acronym for Tartarus.
Negative. No. No, that is really the name. Came out in
Yeah.
2008 for the PS3.
Yep, that's the
no
name of the
wonder
original
no one knows
game.
about it.
Yeah, and then they came out with the sequel, and they're like,
Expialidocious. Okay.
yeah, let's call it Rocket League. Oh, that's like a great idea. People can actually repeat it, unlike this dumb animal right here that couldn't even say it the first time.
Yeah, but when that came out a couple years ago, my buddy Chris and I, on Friday nights, we put Madden aside and we played that game.
Yeah, that
because
game's
it was
fun.
so fun.
Yep, for
It's
sure.
got that split screen on it, so you can play it a couple people at a time if you have some friends over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have like a guest join you online. I saw that. Yeah, so I'm basically discovering this game for the first time, and I'm like, man, how has nobody ever told me about this game? So, and it brings me, there's one other thing that it made me think of, and this is like a bizarre game reference. Maybe one of you guys have ever played this game. So it was a game for the original Xbox, and it was one of the test drive games, but it was Eve of Destruction. It was like a demolition derby game.
No.
Anybody ever heard of it?
Nope,
No, I don't recall that one.
can't say that.
In that demolition derby game, they had soccer with cars.
Really?
And basically, yeah, you have your like demolition cars, and you can like knock all the other cars out of the way and all this stuff. But it was just a giant soccer ball that you pushed and you scored by pushing it down the field and everything.
Huh.
And I was like, huh. I always thought it was a cool idea back in that game, and it's like pretty sweet now with these little Hot Wheel cars.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
But that really was about the only two interesting things in my week. What about you, Lucas?
I don't know, Mark. What about you?
Oh, okay. I guess we're going to me. All right.
Yeah, let's transition to you, buddy.
Redirect.
Besides becoming our little riding champion, what else were you up to this past week?
Okay, so New Year's Eve, hung out with my in-laws for New Year's Eve, as well as another buddy of mine, as well as my wife, and we basically hung out, had a bunch of good food, and then my dad, my father-in-law, actually suggested, because he for Christmas had actually gotten me I think I told you guys I got the Batman Anthology Blu-ray set,
Yep.
which has the original Burton movies plus Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. I got that for Christmas, and my father-in-law suggested on New Year's Eve that we watch Batman. So we watched Batman right before we rung in the New Year, which was
Nice.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then New Year's Day, had a little bit of moving to do, and finally got the Tartarus bookshelf in
Yeah, you did.
our office here.
Oh,
Nice.
So-
Look out.
So it is here. I feel like the office is complete now because now we have a little. You guys can see behind me this little chair that my wife sits in. So yeah, it's her chair from. She's had it for. You can't see it at all. Okay.
See a little piece of it.
That could be maybe a chair.
I guess so. Has it got flowers on it?
It does. It does have flowers on it.
Yep.
I see the bottom half of it. So
Okay. Well,
we'll
it's
take your
there.
word for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So for those not watching because you can't watch, there's a chair there.
For all of you that can't watch,
But yeah, so New Year's Day we did some moving and did some cleanup stuff to bring some more order to our house, which was great. Also played some Onrush with Patrick and I think Lucas, you were there at one point too. I think we played Onrush a couple of times. I know we played Onrush with I played with you, Patrick, and with was it Tim?
Tim?
Tim
Tim
was
Pollan,
there.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yep.
Yeah, I missed that one, but
Okay.
I was there in spirit.
Sweet. And so the only other thing that was out of the ordinary was last night we had our our not annual but weekly Exploding Kittens time, and so we had probably the most epic game of Exploding Kittens I think I've ever played. And I can't explain it to you because it won't make any sense to you without you actually knowing how to play the game. But
Is it like you shoved a bunch of Mentos in the cat and poured some Diet Coke in there and
hey, you know what, Lucas? It's exactly not like that at all.
all right, fantastic. I'm glad I could help. Anytime you need me, I'll be here all
yeah.
night.
It's like a game of operation.
Yeah.
But no, it was pretty cutthroat towards the end of the game, and I ended up winning, which was awesome. I had like an ace in the hole kind of card that basically saved me and helped me to win the game. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, gaming wise, basically it was Onrush and My Little Riding Champion, and that says a lot. So
Which one was better?
I would take Onrush any day over
Liar. Fake news.
Fake news.
only to you.
Okay, so hold on. Let's recap what happened earlier in the podcast. So you say you're going to stream again for My Little Riding Champion, but you're not
did.
streaming at all of non-Onrush. So
Yeah. He's got you there.
I think you love it.
I'm only doing that purely for entertainment value, not because I enjoy the game itself.
Keep telling yourself that. Mhm.
Wink.
I
wink.
will keep telling myself that because it's factual. It is real news. But that is pretty much my week. Lucas, can we take it back to you now?
No, I think we should keep going with you. No, I'm just kidding. I think you have more to say. Wink, wink. No, I'm just
Encore.
kidding. Before we get into my week, I did have to ask Ronnie, because I did not officially ask him. For the unlucky 13th time, and the first time in 2019, did you happen to watch at least the trailer of Superman?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on.
And moving on.
And we're moving on. So this past week, I got a lot of good family time in. As I've shared in the past, my family is on vacation. My kids and my wife all go to the same school, and so they've all been home. We got a nice little holiday vacation, summer vacation down here in Brazil, because it is most definitely summer in Brazil. It's upper 80s, lower 90s every day. The only thing that saves us right now is that it rains every afternoon. Today was a different day. It did not rain, so right now it is a good mid to upper 80s outside, and about the same in my house. So I am a sweating madman right now, but I am surviving. We did get a day to go to what some would call the Central Park of Sao Paulo, called Ibirapuera, and it was a really fun time with my family. My daughter got to ride her new bike that she got around Christmas time. My son used his scooter, and then my wife and in-laws, they walked, and then I got to ride my daughter's pink scooter with handlebar streamers all over the park, and it was a blast. There are definitely pictures and videos, and I may or may not be sharing them with you later. Beyond that, fun time at the park. My wife and I also had a date night, which was very nice.
Awesome.
We went out to a restaurant called Coco Bamboo and had this nice little shrimp and rice meal. It was just really tasty. The shrimp was amazing. And then after that, we went and watched Bumblebee. And
Nice.
I will have to say, I haven't watched the other Transformer movies in a while, but it definitely is at least in my top 2 for the Transformers movie. And
Nice.
overall, I would have to give it 8.76 AllSparks out of 11, which really is pretty much 4 out of 5, but a little bit off of 9 out of 10. So it just depends on how you look at it. Other than that, no, I really did enjoy the movie, and I would say that it. I know you guys already mentioned Bumblebee already, so I won't go too much into it. But it really had a lot of heart, and I really liked the shout outs to the '80s cartoon and some of the simple storyline and just how they had everything laid out. It was really cool. Beyond that, continuing with movies, my wife and I continued Phase 2 of the MCU challenge in-game prep for this coming April. We watched Captain America 2: Winter Soldier, and I still love it.
That's a good one.
I don't know if
I like it.
Yeah, I can't wait, Ronnie, till you watch these movies for the first time and we get to talk about them probably in November or December when you're like scrambling to watch these movies at the last minute to accomplish your resolution. But man, Winter Soldier is such a good movie, and I find it to be one of the more unique movies in the MCU because it's more of a spy movie, more like a James Bond kind of movie. I really dig it.
Yeah, for sure.
My wife actually said that she liked it less than when she watched it the first time, which I was a little disappointed in. And she said overall that she thinks the second movies of all the different superheroes, all their second movies, she finds them all to be the weakest across the board. And I thought that was an interesting thought, like Iron Man 2, Thor 2, even Avengers 2. When you think about it, it is an interesting thought that a lot of the sequels, the number 2s of those MCU movies are weaker than their first films and the third films. But maybe you guys disagree.
If you look at it, Thor: Dark World was worse than the first for sure. And Iron Man 2 was one of the worst. Iron Man 2 and Thor: Dark World were one of the worst MCU movies. But most recently, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think it was. It wasn't better than the first because the first one was so good, but the second one was way better than all the other sequels for sure. It was a good fun time for sure.
I would say maybe the best. Well, see, I really like Winter Soldier, but another good sequel of those is Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 2. I thought they did a really good job with that, and they injected a lot more.
You could toss a coin with those two.
Yeah, Volume 1 and Volume 2 for sure. But that's what we kept. We're moving the needle little by little. We started out strong. I think we watched Phase 1 within the first week of starting last year, and then now we've kind of paced ourselves, so now we're watching one movie a week, and that was cool. With my kids, we took a step in the direction of technology, and I set them both up with old iPods that I have.
Nice.
I restarted the iPods, kind of reverted them back to their factory settings, and I pretty much spent a whole day making sure that it was set up not only so they could make it their own, but also so that it was child friendly and I could be like Big Brother and watch every move that they make, which is both good and bad. Good in the sense that they're not stumbling upon any inappropriate things, or I don't know. You just never know what can happen when you let kids have all this freedom.
Have access to the internet?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I spent half the first day studying and reading up, and my daughter's like, are we going to have iPod soon? I'm like, just wait. I'm not ready yet. And then I gave it to them, and they went into the App Store, and all of a sudden, like, my son found a game to download. I made the rule, like, they can only download one game or app a day. And they're like, okay, fine. So my son immediately finds one. He gets this little Pokemon game that is not Pokemon Go or anything to that level. He's 6 years old, and he got just like this Pokemon playground. And it's really cute. He downloaded it, and he played it for his allotted time. Like, every day I'm giving them an hour. And then once the hour's up, they're done. They can't do anything else with it. But my daughter, man, it's like taking a girl shopping, like what you imagine, or taking a woman shopping. They're like, oh, I like these shoes. Oh, I don't know. Well, these are nice, but they make my feet look fat or something like that. Right. So it was that kind of like, my daughter, she sent me like, because so how it works when you set up a kid with an Apple ID and an iPod, you can set it up so that it sends you what they want to download, and then you can approve or decline. And so the first few, I was like, decline. Like, it was just like, I don't know, either I knew it wouldn't work, or I knew she wouldn't really like it. Like, she wanted to download like some kind of guide to all the Pokemon's weakness if you have Pokemon Go, but that's all it had, and she just saw it as Pokemon, and I was like, you don't want that. Why? I want to see it. And I'm like, no, you don't want that. So she finally went on to something else. Well, then she wanted to download these games where you were an animal and you were like living in the forest, and I was like, oh, that's fun. You could be a fox, or you could be a bear or something. And then because the iPods are old, they started crashing. So my daughter the first day went through 5 or 6 games, and then she kept sending me approval, and I'm like, if this is what every day is going to be like, I'm not going to survive. Because I'm like trying to do stuff, and then all of a sudden my daughter sends me a little message, and then she's like looking at me, like staring at my face, breathing in my ear, like, are you going to approve this, Dad? I just sent you an app to approve. Are you going to approve it? You're going to approve it? You need to look at it. I'm like, just give me a second, okay? I'm doing something. Quit pressuring me. I'm feeling the pressure. So, but overall, it's gotten better as the days have gone on, and they've been cool with, limiting it to an hour. They have plenty of other things, Christmas presents and things to go through. So it's been all right. Besides that, we are, speaking of Pokemon, because that's probably one of the more popular apps they like to do. We're about 3/4 of the way through the first season of Pokemon Indigo League, and that's like 70 or 80 episodes, I think, in the first season of Pokemon. It's ridiculous.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we've totally burnt through the Netflix episodes. There's about 52 or 53 episodes on Netflix, and now we've moved over into Daily Motion because that's the only way we can watch the episodes. We tried YouTube, and their episodes, I don't know if you've ever watched, Patrick, I don't know for your kids if you've ever tried to watch cartoons on YouTube, but a lot of times when they're not supposed to be on YouTube, they like put a picture in a picture, and so you have like this really little picture to the side, and then you have like these banners all around, and so
we tried that. We've dabbled in the YouTube free episode kind of thing.
It's pure awfulness, and so we've tried to avoid that. My wife found Daily Motion, and they have pretty much all the episodes on there, so we're just running through them, watching one or two every day. It's been good times. Are you all right, Mark the Pirate over there?
No. I was just referring to someone else. That's all.
Hey, I gotta go with what my options are. So
I got you.
That's my option down here in Brazil. Beyond that, in the realms of gaming, we finished Lego Lord of the Rings earlier this week, and appropriately, we finished it on Friday. Appropriately, we finished Lego Lord of the Rings one day after J.R.R. Tolkien Day, which was on January 3rd. I had no idea until after the fact. So that was pretty cool to find that out, that we completed the game. What's that?
Who's that?
J.R.R. Tolkien?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that for the listener's sake?
Is that the writer for Harry Potter?
You've lost your talking privileges.
You're funny, Patrick. Sorry for those who don't know.
Guy?
No, that's George Railroad Martin. For those that don't know, J.R.R. Tolkien is the author of Lord of the Rings.
There you go.
I'm sorry, not a character in Lord of the Rings. I shouldn't assume. If you assume, you make something out of you and me. So I'll try not to do that. Sorry. After we finished Lego Lord of the Rings, we started Lego City Undercover, and my kids are not big fans. And after 2 days, they're like, Daddy, can we play The Hobbit, Lego The Hobbit? And part of me is like, oh, you don't like City Undercover? But the other part of me is like, yes, the nerd inside of me is like, yes, you want more Lord of the Rings, more So we're returning to Middle Earth and going to be playing The Hobbit.
Cool. Awesome.
Beyond that, I've been working on the Plat still for Strider, and like Patrick, working on Onrush. I'm not quite as dedicated as Patrick. I'm only like level 37 at this point, but I did get some good time in with my buddy Pat today. We played for a couple hours, and that was a good time. I was very sad to miss the 5 hours that Patrick played with Tim Pollen and his buddy this past weekend. But, got to go with what you get. And I almost forgot, this past Sunday, something interesting to share is that one of the pastors in our church, for his sermon, he preached on superheroes. And actually at the beginning, he talked about the different powers that superheroes have, and then he drew it into the power that we have as Christians through the Holy Spirit, and reading scriptures about those different things, but just kind of connecting with our day and age. I mean, we can't deny that superheroes are a big deal, whether it's in the movies, whether it's in cartoons, comics, with kids. I think kids more than ever, thanks to the MCU and thanks to, comics being, so diverse, and, they hit different levels of, for kids, for adults, and superheroes are a big deal. And so with that, that's actually, and ironically and appropriately, our topic for today. And I was blown away that the pastor this past Sunday preached on superheroes. And that just leads us into our topic for the Good Morning Guys. So are you ready to talk about superheroes?
No.
Yes, I am.
I love the enthusiasm. No. Excelsior.
Yes! Let's go!
Let's talk about superheroes. Now, this was something that I think we've touched on in the past. We've teased around talking about our favorite superheroes, but we're going to go in-depth tonight. One of our listeners in Scotland, Ashley, she brought up, I think, a couple weeks ago that we should talk about superheroes. So in 2019, we thought we'd pull the trigger and jump right into talking about superheroes. So let's get right in to talking about some of our favorites, or maybe the ones that don't, tickle our fancy too much. Maybe we don't like so much. Maybe some of our favorite stories, those kind of things. To lead us in, I wanted to ask about our childhood, to ask about back in the day. And our buddy Travis, FriggingNutcase on the Discord, he wanted to know, what was your favorite superhero while you were growing up? Did you do anything to become like that superhero? I always wanted to be like Superman and be able to fly, so I used to try to jump off the swings when I was at the peak to see if I could fly. I could not. And it was weird, because I am afraid of heights. So guys, what was your first encounter with superheroes? When did you first discover them? Let's take a step back into the past.
I think I'll start. The only superhero really as a kid that I was ever into is Batman. I don't know what it was about Batman that drew me in. I obviously never got into the Superman at all. Just as a kid for me, Batman was. As a kid for me, Batman was.
You're
just
a good
the coolest,
man, Ronnie.
man.
Good man.
He had his belt with all his gadgets and stuff. He's the coolest thing. So that really was the only superhero that I've ever really was into.
Fair enough. And then, did you ever try to become Batman, or was there another superhero that you tried to pretend to be as a child, teenager, adult?
I was Batman one Halloween.
All right.
I wasn't pretending. I had his actual suit. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
doing it.
I wasn't pretending. I was Batman. I attacked a few thieves and beat up a few people.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
They may or may not have been doing illegal things.
But no, Batman for me was really the only one. And I feel like this question is going to split the show apart here in a second. Go ahead, Patrick.
So
who's yours?
Yeah, no surprise. Superman. Now,
No, I never would have
I was
guessed that.
born
Shocking.
in 1983. No. So, and by the time I was born, I think there were 2 or 3 Superman movies already out. I think the 4th one came out in like maybe in '84 or something like that. So
we would ask Ronnie about that, but he'd have no idea. So let's continue. Sorry, Patrick.
Oh, geez, there's more than one?
Yeah, there's 4.
There's 4 of them. Yeah.
So when I was growing up, I mean, like, so say I was like 5 years old. When I was 5, I mean, there hadn't been a Batman movie out. You know, I was never into comic books. Neither were my brothers. So I didn't know a lot about the superhero genre, or the comic books, or anything like that. But there were Superman movies out, and my parents watched them. You know, and my older brothers watched them. So you know, I inevitably watched them with them. So yeah, Superman was my first, like, I guess, introduction to the superhero genre, and all the superheroes. So yeah, Superman was my first, growing up, for sure. Yeah, was my favorite. Still is.
Look at you and Travis, Superman buddies. Did you ever try to be Superman?
No, I mean, I can't remember if I ever tried to be Superman, but I mean, like, you know, one of the big things about Superman and superheroes, you know, they got that cape. So, you know, you throw like a towel around your neck, or a blanket around your neck, and you're running around the house acting like you can fly. Because, you know, obviously, you know, if you're flying, you have to have a cape. So yeah, I mean, I did that. I don't know if I did anything like that where I'm jumping off roofs or jumping onto trampolines or whatever. But yeah, I will put on a cape.
Fair enough. Mark, how about you, buddy?
For those not able to watch our podcast at this point, there is a giant picture behind Patrick of him wearing a Superman suit. Just saying.
Yeah. That's another thing. I mean, I have a Superman stocking still sitting up here. I need to put that away. You know, the Superman picture that's right behind me. You know, I'm putting on the Superman suit, and I got a white collared shirt that I'm opening up. I'll take a picture of it and I'll throw it on Discord or Twitter or whatever. But yeah, we had taken that picture with like a high-end camera, so I could blow it up really big and make it a poster on my wall. Because, you know, I love Superman, but I would even love it even better if it was something that like I created, kind of thing. So yeah, I'll throw it up on Twitter.
It's pretty
nice.
Sweet. Well, I am, I guess, on the other end of that spectrum. I grew up absolutely loving Batman. When I was a kid, I had, like, as we talked about in a previous podcast, I had the '89 Batman movie, the Tim Burton Batman movie, on VHS, and I would play that thing to death. I absolutely loved Michael Keaton's Batman and the Batmobile and all that kind of stuff. All the designs for that movie were awesome. I had a bunch of comics when I was a kid. I was growing up right around the time where the Nightfall run of Batman comics was going on, and for those unfamiliar with that, that's when basically they introduced Bane into the comic storyline, and Bane actually breaks Batman down mentally and physically. He breaks down Batman's psyche and then ends up actually breaking Batman's back, and so Batman is out of commission. Bruce is out of commission and can't be Batman. He's basically wheelchair, stuck in a wheelchair because he's paralyzed, basically. And so this other guy who is kind of already has this sort of alter ego. This guy's name's John Paul Valley. He was a guy by the name of Azrael in the comics. He ends up becoming Batman and taking Bruce's place, but he ends up like going way overboard with it and starts getting super violent and creating this new suit that has all these like horrible weapons and stuff as part of like the armor and stuff like that, and he just starts going really crazy. And eventually, and I don't remember how it goes in the comics, but somehow or other, Bruce is able to heal his back. And and he ends up having to confront Jean-Paul Valley and become the Batman again. And so that was basically like the prime time for me growing up. That comic storyline, I had several of the comics from that story arc. But like you name it, I had it in terms of Batman stuff. And I'll go into more of why I love that character, but it was just always a cool character to me as a kid. I dressed up as Batman several times, including the time I mentioned when I was 5 years old and had to wear that really crappy plastic mask that I couldn't breathe in, and my parents made me wear a jacket over it. Yeah,
I wish we had a picture of that.
Yeah, I have a Polaroid of it somewhere, and I can't find it at the moment. But if I find it, I will post it for sure. But
you need to use your Batman detective skills to track that baby down. And
true
post
story.
it.
Yep. But yeah, Batman all the way for me.
Cool. Well, for me, I don't know if I was that young and into superheroes. I really don't remember, but I do remember the first superheroes that really grabbed my attention were the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because those guys are true green superheroes. I love the Ninja Turtles. Like, I remember watching the cartoon on Saturday mornings. Along with that, of course, I watched the X-Men cartoon, which was also awesome on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
It was magical. I think for me, just overall, like I was, especially at a young age, I don't know why, but I was always attracted to the teams of superheroes. Like, I never was really attracted to. I liked watching the movies, like the Batman movies. I remember watching the Superman movie at a really young age. But the superheroes that I really liked are the ones that worked in a team, and definitely number one for me when I was a kid was the Ninja Turtles. They were the best. Speaking of some of our favorite superheroes, our very own Melanie Novosel, mother of three, she wanted to know, which superhero has the most ridiculous or awesome outfit, in your opinion? I'll go ahead and start. Ninja Turtles. They have the most awesome and ridiculous outfit. They literally just put colored bandanas on their faces, and they're naked. Like, they don't wear anything else. Now, in the Bay movies, I think they have a little more substantial covering, but they're really just naked turtles with bandanas on their bodies. And, what can you say about that? I don't think we really understand the ridiculousness of outfits, to me, until you make it in real life. Like Wolverine in the X-Men, another one that I loved as a kid. His yellow and blue outfit is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. When you see a real life person wearing that, they do not look cool at all. So, what else you guys got? Ridiculous and awesome.
So, when you have a costume, you actually you put something on you. Superman has his, Batman, Wolverine, they have costumes. But what about people who don't have costumes? I mean, you look at the Hulk, and he just like rips his own pants and shirt, and then there's his costume? Like, really? Like, you don't have anything you want to put on?
Well, I mean, traditionally he has his purple pants, but
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me put on my purple pants. Now you know it's me.
Now here's something I don't understand. Did Bruce Banner always have purple pants on, and then when he turned into the Hulk, they were stretchy, like they alluded to in one of the movies? I can't remember which one they talked about. Maybe it was in the bloopers. They talked about purple pants. But I never understood that from the comics. If he was always wearing purple pants, or were they like stretchy purple boxers? And then when he turned into the Hulk, all the other clothes ripped off, and there he is, just like a big green guy in purple boxers. Is that how it worked?
He's literally like 10 times the size when he's the Hulk.
Yeah.
What kind of material is this?
3 words: suspension of disbelief.
No. So I can put aside my belief that a guy can grow green and then small, in the blink of an eye. But if his pants are still on when he becomes that big, it's like, I don't believe that for a second.
Bruce Banner is a scientist. You think he couldn't create stretchy pants that would?
He's a scientist, not like a fabric scientist.
Fabric scientist. Hello, I am Bruce Banner. I am a fabric scientist extraordinaire. Thank you.
He would have to be wearing those underneath his regular clothes at all times then.
Yeah, he's got to be ready. He's always angry, so he's probably always angry because he always has to wear those dumb purple pants under his clothes. That would make me angry too.
Well, think of the alternative. Would you really want naked Hulk all the time?
Hey, that would scare away some of the bad guys. They wouldn't want to fight a big naked man with
Naked green
It
man.
looked just
I don't know how.
it looked just like one of the Ninja Turtles without a shell.
Exactly.
Yeah, except more anatomically correct. Just saying.
We are quickly approaching.
Yep.
So moving on, what else do you guys find to be ridiculous or awesome outfits? Are there any outfits that you guys really like?
Iron Man, the way they did it in the movies. I love his outfit. You know, his mech that he puts on. And every single one of his mechs he puts on. The War Machine, his one that, you know, like every single upgrade that he has. I think, you know, Iron Man. I didn't really know Iron Man when I was little, and pretty much my introduction to Iron Man was in the movies. And I just love when he's you know flying around and using his mech, and I love it, absolutely love it. So yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Excuse me. Yeah, I would say that's the most practical way to put on a suit, especially like a mech suit. You know, it's kind of silly to think about. You know, oh, I've got to change into my suit. Hold on, let me put my shirt and my gloves. Oh wait, no, I'll get there soon. No. He can just jump into his suit. So that's probably the coolest, most practical, way to quickly suit up. But obviously, my favorite suit is Batman's suit for sure. I've always loved the design of that and the cowl and all that kind of stuff. I would say the worst. Are we doing worst?
Yeah, you can mention both. Ridiculous and awesome. She wanted to know good and bad, so go ahead.
The most ridiculous suit I think I can think of at the moment. I want you, and for those listening, go ahead and Google this. Nightwing's original suit.
Is it bad?
It's horrible. Like it's the like cheesiest 70s looking jumpsuit I've ever seen in my entire life, and it was like, how does that possibly look good for a superhero costume? Thankfully, they changed it up and made it cooler, but yeah, his first outfit was awful. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
All right.
I would probably go with the Batman actually, but
how dare you?
So this actually reminded me of one of the coolest suits that I remember when I was a kid.
You mean coolest?
So
I was like, why are you hating on him, Mark? He's paying a compliment to your buddy.
Never mind, Mark. It's the Superman suit.
My mistake.
No, but do you remember the Mr. Freeze outfit in the Batman movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like his big, like frozen outfit.
Oh,
I'd rather not, but
that is totally ridiculous.
Dude, that is like the most ridiculous costume I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it was also like as a kid, I thought that was like the coolest thing.
Oh, man.
They were all like just outlandish.
Yeah. It's totally terrible. It kind of reminds me of that. I haven't watched that cartoon too much, but that cartoon where that fish is in a aquarium on a like a robot suit. I don't know if you guys have watched that cartoon with Patrick with your kids, or you've seen it on Cartoon Network. I don't know. It's one of these cartoons where there's a fish. Oh, it's also in Megamind, you know, where his sidekick in Megamind. Did you guys see that? No?
Nope.
All right,
Negative.
fair
No,
enough.
sorry.
Sorry. Well, it's pretty much just like he's wearing an aquarium on his head, and he's got a blue face. I'm talking about Mr. Freeze now, like just how ridiculous it is. There's other cartoons and other things where like they have fish in a fishbowl on top of a robot suit, and that's pretty much what he looks like, is a frozen fish head.
Yeah, and most of his suit was like neon blue. Like you could see like it was pretty ridiculous.
It was totally awful, for sure. So now let's get into our favorites, our favorite superheroes, and that can be of all time. If we could each do maybe one, and maybe an honorable mention, just to not take anybody's thunder. And actually, I'd like to start with Ronnie, since he is at a slight disadvantage in his superhero knowledge. I don't want anyone to steal his thunder. So, Ronnie, who is your favorite superhero of all time?
my favorite superheroes of all time is all the musicians in the mid to late 90s who brought back swing music for a brief but fun period of time.
No one's stealing that answer.
Nope.
That is an OG original.
Do you guys remember
answer.
that phase?
Nope.
I do
You remember that? It was a revival of swing music, man. It's awesome.
So you're talking like Zoot Suit Riot?
Yeah, man. Zoot Suit Riot. There was
that swing music from The Mask.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
The Mask.
Yeah.
Favorite superhero of the 90s, right there.
Was he a hero though? Really? I mean, I guess
Smoking.
He
the Mask himself
somebody
really wasn't
stop
a hero,
he put the bad guys behind bars, right?
but he robbed the
So-
bank
He's an anti-hero.
This is true.
Yeah, he's an anti-hero.
and then was on camera just flinging it around.
Whatever works. Whatever gets the job done. No, I don't know. All right.
Now, I favorite superhero, I would probably go with Batman. Outside of Infinity Wars that I just watched like 2 weeks ago, I know nothing about nothing.
Yeah, it's all good. You'll get there. This is the year of the superhero for you, buddy. You'll get those MCU movies under your belt.
it.
That's right. And then you're going to watch Superman December 31st. So beginning of 2020, we're going to just have this discussion again, and we're just going to let you do it, and we're just going to be your backup talkers.
All right, got it.
Perfect.
Patrick?
So my favorite, obviously, is Superman. But honorable mention, very close second, is the Green Power Ranger.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, the Power Rangers.
Very nice,
Now,
with
very
that.
nice.
let's go back to the Superman for a second. I want you to give me I want you to just really lock in deep in your soul. What is it about Superman that speaks to you, that draws you to him being your favorite?
So one is him flying. So it's one of like the things that I've just always dreamt of, and a lot of kids dream about doing stuff like that, but flying, I've always wanted to fly. I dream about flying all the time. It's I would say one of the majority of my dreams is about flying. I still dream about that. So that was one of the big things. And then I think another reason why I do enjoy him is because of his identity as Clark. He just wants to be a normal guy. He doesn't want to be flashy. He doesn't boast about himself. He's very humble. So I think I have a lot of those same attributes. So I think that was one of the really because he's a very down to earth kind of guy. Even though he is from outer space,
It's literally
he's very
not
down to
from
earth.
Earth. So
Right, yeah, but he is down to earth. He is very restrained and using his powers. He does a lot of good. There's pretty much almost no bad fiber in his being, other than when he gets hit with that red kryptonite or whatever. So
right. Now, tell me, maybe you've mentioned this before, but did you name your son Clark because of Superman?
So yeah, my son's name is Clark Joseph, the first and middle name of Superman, his earthly name. So yeah,
Nice.
I did not name
That's
him
dedication.
Kal-El. However, I do have a buddy,
And your
whose,
son will thank you
friend
for that
His name
forever.
is Kal-El, but I wasn't going to go that far. I was like, well, he's going to be Clark, Clark Joseph. So he's my little superhero.
Can you imagine yelling at him, like just being like, Kal-El Novosel? How would you be mad
Has a nice
at
ring
your
to
kid
it.
and
Has
say
a nice
that?
ring to it.
I mean,
like,
it does. It actually does. Now that I said it out loud, I was like, "Oh, Kal-El Novosel." It rhymes, but there's no way you could.
But
Like,
that would be
get mad about
horrible to spell. Like, what's your name? Kal-El Novosel. It's like, what? What'd you say?
Say that again. And that kid
Clark.
would get so made fun of in school.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that to him.
Yeah.
But Clark, Clark is like an old style kind of name. It's not really a new 21st century kind of name. It kind of went with my daughter's name, Claire. So yeah, Claire and Clark, it kind of went together. And so my wife was on board with that. But yeah, I'm a big
That's
Superman fan for sure.
Well, I don't know if you've thought about this or gone this direction with his middle name, but Joseph was a superhero for the Hebrew people. He's pretty much the reason they were able to survive, biblically speaking, when he went to Egypt and did the thing that he did, and he had dreams and all those fun things. But I really like
there.
a lot of one thing I like about Superman is I like the fact that his outfit, quote unquote, is not his spandex Superman suit. His outfit is Clark Kent. Like, that's his disguise. That's his. I like that. How Batman, and maybe some people would say when Batman wears his bat suit and does his Batman things, that's who he really is. But really, originally, Batman is. I'm blanking on his name. Sorry.
Bruce Wayne?
Bruce Wayne, thank you. He's originally
Peter
Bruce
Parker.
Wayne. And then and then he puts on the bat suit to become Batman. But
Mark just got up and left.
bye, Mark. Hope you
In
find
my
your
mind,
dad.
yes, I'm out of here.
All right, fair enough. But like the fact that his outfit, his disguise, as it were, is just a normal person, and I think that really emulates his humble nature. I really like that about him, and I think that's really cool. The relationship between his pretend human character and his real superhero self. And beyond that, I also think that it's ridiculous that people don't recognize him just because he puts glasses on, and he uses that super tricking. I don't know. We talked about it in an episode long ago
We did.
how he has some kind of energy that comes off of him that tricks everyone into not recognizing who he really is. That's a little ridiculous, but you know what? As we were talking about earlier, there's green men turning big wearing purple pants, so it's all ridiculous. That's part of the fun.
Suspension of disbelief.
3 words. 3 words you got to use with comics and superheroes.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mark, I think we know your answer, but you can go ahead and share it, and definitely share why.
I've pretty much telegraphed my favorite. It's definitely Batman. It has always been Batman. It always will be Batman. I will argue that in the same manner, really, like, when I was a kid, basically the only reason I really liked Batman was because I thought he had a cool suit and a cool car and awesome gadgets, and that's a great part of who Batman is an arsenal of all sorts of gadgets, and his vast wealth. Of course, I recall Justice League, which many people don't care for, but that's neither here nor there. The scene in Justice League when Barry asks Bruce Wayne, Barry Allen being the Flash, asks Bruce Wayne, he says, "What's your superpower?" And he literally says, "I'm rich," which is which is reductionist, because he doesn't technically have a superpower, but he is trained in several different forms of martial arts. He has all sorts of different detective and forensic skills. Obviously the arsenal of gadgets and stuff like that. And once I got older, I really recognized the duality of the character, in the fact that, they've portrayed Bruce Wayne, the persona of Bruce Wayne, being the mask, and the fact that Batman is his real identity, this search for justice and not wanting people to experience the horrors that he experienced, and this sort of brutality that was deep inside of him. And Batman Begins actually touches upon this, where like he really doesn't know how to be a rich playboy, so he has to figure it out and essentially put on this persona. And in Batman Returns, they point this out as well, where there's like a masquerade party at the end of the movie, and Batman and Catwoman in the movie, they basically come as Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle, because that's their mask. They're pretending to be someone that they're not, and so that was always something interesting to me as I got older and recognized that about the character, and just all the villains that Batman has, and their stories or lack of story. One example being the Joker. He has several different stories possibly as to his origin, but he's this, crazy enigmatic character that the only thing you really know about him is, he's crazy and a psychopath and likes to kill people and all that kind of stuff. But his villains are awesome. And, I just enjoy that type of vigilante dark character, and I always have with Batman. So yeah, for sure. And plus his cars are awesome. So just say.
All right, cool. My son was
So
asked
hold on,
this
wait, let's go
question.
back.
Oh, sorry,
Mark,
go ahead. Go.
Mark, what's your favorite Batman mobile? Batman-mobile? Batmobile.
Batmobile, thank you. Batman-mobile. Batmobile man. What's your favorite Batmobile man?
What's your favorite Batmobile, man? But
There it is.
I would have to say probably the 89 Batmobile.
That's a good
just
one.
because of how sleek looking
But
and aerodynamic it is.
if that tumbler would destroy the 89 Batman-mobile.
Yeah, but
This is true.
It's
I
just-
was just asking what his favorite one, not which one's going to destroy one another.
But isn't that what Batman does? He destroys stuff. That's what he's all about. So
No,
He does.
it's actually not what he's all
He
about.
Hitting
does
with his
destroy a
hate.
lot of things.
In the movies he does, but he's not supposed to.
I'm just messing with
That's
you.
what
No, I
happens
think
when he has a tumbler. He just runs
Yeah,
it over.
that's
He's like,
true.
I don't
It's
have a really nice F1 racer anymore. I got a big tank.
Yeah. No, Mark, that's a good one. That 89 Batman mobile is a classic. For sure.
Batmobile.
Not getting rid of that one now. That's all I want to say is Batman mobile. It's gonna stick.
Why is it always the stuff I love?
Why not? So my son was asked this question the other day. Who is your favorite superhero? And without me prompting, and
Hold
he
on,
didn't
your
even
son
miss
asked us the question?
No. My son was asked this question. He does ask about the show, but he did not ask us this question. He was asked this question a couple weeks ago, and without me prompting and without missing a beat, he immediately said Jesus is his favorite superhero. And I have to tell you that this dad's heart was proud. And
Wow.
when he said that, I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. High five. Jesus is the man. And it was really cool. So just in case you don't know what to say your favorite is, the best answer, the Sunday school answer, is always Jesus. But besides Jesus
True.
being the obvious answer, as I mentioned before, I used to be a huge X-Men, and I mean, I still am an X-Men fan. I will say that Fox has run X-Men into the ground, and I'm very excited to see if Marvel can really get their hands on those characters and do something with it, because it's my understanding that Marvel is going to be able to integrate them into the MCU. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, we don't have any confirmed details, but I'm pretty sure that that's happened. So I'm very excited to see what they can do with it. But as a kid, growing up, I pretty much stuck with X-Men comics, cartoons, of course, Ninja Turtles, as I mentioned. But then I took a break. I don't really know why. I had some comics and I watched the movies, but I never really connected with the comics. The cartoons were just fun to watch. But on a deeper level, it never really grabbed me. But then I would say that with the MCU, with the the Iron Man, Avengers, all those movies, it really brought me back to appreciating superhero stories. And as an adult, I would have to say that my current favorite superhero is Spider-Man. I really like his mix of humor with emotion. I feel like he covers the adult side of things. Like, I like the older Spider-Man, kind of like the PS4 Spider-Man, as Hollywood Bones is famous for saying on Married to the Games last week. The Spider-Man on PS4, I like its balance between the serious and the silly. And I just like Spider-Man's lightheartedness, but at the same time, he's a powerful superhero. And I find him to be kind of like Superman. While he's not, as OP as Superman, he's still very powerful. And he's still very humble. And he never uses that to really his advantage. The only time maybe he misuses it when as an immature teenager in most of the comics, and other times he lets his emotions get the better of him and he does dumb stuff. But for the most part, like, he's just a good-natured superhero. As an honorable mention, I will say the MCU Captain America, he has really grown on me. Like Chris Evans' portrayal of Captain America, especially as I'm rewatching these, I just really appreciate his depth. In the comics, I'll be honest, I didn't really care for Captain America. I was Team Iron Man in terms of... No, Iron Man was a jerk in the comics too. I actually think just the MCU in general has taken some of these characters that were really broken in the comics, like Iron Man, and Captain America was really like a Boy Scout in the comics, and I thought he was a really one-dimensional character in the comics from the ones that I read. But the way they're portrayed in the movies, I really like. I just feel like they're much deeper, they're more nuanced with their emotions, and kind of growing and developing as the movies go on. So my number one would definitely be Spider-Man right now at this point in my life, and honorable mention, Captain America.
Nice. Yeah.
So
another thing I like about Spider-Man is, as the teenage Spider-Man, he's learning as he goes. He's not perfect. He's gonna make mistakes, but he learns from them. He figures out what's the right choice, what's the wrong choice. And that, I think that speaks to a lot of people when he makes a mistake, because no one's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. And when he does, he sits back and reflects on it. He has his mentor. He has his Aunt May. He has his. He doesn't really have many friends. So when he does make a mistake, he sulks about it, and he sits back in his room and he talks to his Aunt May. And she gives that advice that only it's very vague advice, but it's that advice that really hits home when Peter really needs it. So yeah. That's another thing I like about him, that Spider-Man.
For sure. Now, there are still many, for those that have read comics, there are a lot of superhero stories that have been untold, not been told yet. Do you guys have a favorite superhero that doesn't have a movie yet? One that you like and maybe you hope someday will have a movie? This was a question actually asked by our good buddy Duncan Rogers over there on Facebook. He said his is Moon Knight. And I'll be honest, I do not know who Moon Knight is.
Moon Knight was he's a DC character, right?
Yeah, I think he is. Let me double check that.
What? Mark? The Dr. DC does not know?
Oh, nope. He's Marvel.
Oh,
He's
okay.
Marvel? I was close. I was close.
Samsonite. I was way off.
But I don't know if I have like a comic or a superhero that hasn't had a film yet. I mean, a lot of the films that are nowadays, I mean, they're capturing all the ones. Like Venom just came out with one. I really love the Venom movie. I've always liked Venom as a in the Spider-Man universe. But what I want really is just an alternate take on a familiar story. Like if they go with the I don't know if it's what kind of Batman story it is, but it's Thomas Wayne. It's his dad as Batman rather than Bruce Wayne. Flashpoint, yeah, that could happen for sure in the DC universe, the movie universe. But yeah, just an alternate take. Make Superman bad or something. Make a a bizarro Superman or something. Just do an alternate take that's never been done before in movies. Stop making a reboot. Make something new. Make something fresh.
Mm-hmm. What about Ronnie or Mark? Do you have a superhero?
I'm gonna go ahead and pass on this one.
Pass it on.
I barely know any of the ones that do have movies, so that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's true.
If I had to pull one that hasn't really been talked about at all, the one that comes to mind, I would love to see a Static Shock movie. I think that would be really cool. I would enjoy seeing seeing that.
Who is that?
You know,
What's Static Shock?
That sounds
you
like
don't know what
something
Static Shock is?
that happens when I'm
No, I
doing
mean,
the
like,
laundry.
It is. I would if it's a Marvel, character, and they make a movie about it, I'm probably gonna see it. Because
It's not a Marvel character.
Come on,
Uh-oh.
consider the source, Patrick.
Sony.
It's a DC character.
Okay, I mean, all right, I
It's
guess
okay.
I'll think about it. I mean, really, if the rest of the DC universe is as good as Aquaman, I think the DC universe is pretty bright.
Yeah. So Static Shock, the superhero character's name is Static. The name of the book is Static Shock. But I believe the character's real name is Virgil. Basically gets these electric powers. He has the ability to conduct electricity and harness it. And I always loved the Static Shock cartoon that was on, and he made a couple of appearances in the Justice League cartoon and Batman Beyond as well, as an older Static. Is just a really fun character, and plus he rode around on I think it was like an electric like trash can lid, which was weird, but
That sounds amazing.
Obviously there's more to it than that.
Electric trash can lid. Here I come.
Is
But
it like
no.
does he have it on his back like Captain America has his shield? He just like throws it down and then just like rides on it.
Not quite.
Does he grab
but,
clothes from out of the dryer and like rub it really fast on top of his static electric garbage can
Why do
lid?
you have to ruin good
And
things for me?
This guy sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of does. It's like one of those like goofy movies like Blank Man. You ever seen that one?
Oh man, yes.
Yes.
With Marlon
Yeah.
Wayans or with one of the Wayans brothers.
Okay.
Yes.
Damon Wayans. Yeah.
Damon Wayans. Yes, thank you.
That just made me think of there's a Family Guy episode where basically I think Peter becomes like a superhero who also conducts static electricity, and he literally for like a minute you see him like shuffling across the floor going and then he goes up and shocks somebody.
It's just his pajamas, and he starts acting like he's like Electric Man or something like that. His
Yes.
pajamas generate the static, and that's why he's scooting across the floor laughing.
Oh my
Except
gosh.
static is way better than that. So, but in any case, I would like to see that happen, and also a good Green Lantern movie.
All right, fair enough. I think for me, I want an origin story for Alfred. There you go. That's it.
You're
So-
getting that.
Get it?
They're making a television show about it.
Oh, are they really? I won't watch it. I was
Yep.
just kidding. I didn't know what to say, so I just made one up.
It's
be
called
honest.
Pennyworth.
They're making everything that I want to see. So
Yeah.
I have
Hey,
no-
let's make a Batman show, not about Batman. Thumbs up,
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that
Yep.
pretty much what Gotham is?
Yeah, I don't watch
Well,
that
at least
either.
Batman has some sort of a presence, but
Yeah, I guess as a kid, isn't he? A kid or a teenager or something?
yeah, they're in their last season, so at some point he will become Batman.
He's already an
don't
adult in the last season. It's been so long. At least it feels like it's been years.
Only 5 seasons, but anyway.
Gotcha. So, with some of the favorite superheroes we mentioned, VP Barnabe Butters, he wanted to know, what New Year resolution will your favorite superhero have? As in Superman not forgetting his glasses in the morning, or young Peter Parker promises to not skip class unless Doc Ock is wreaking havoc again. In a related note, have you failed your resolutions yet? 1 week in, and I'm still going strong with the workouts. Good job, Barnabe Butters, on them workouts. Keep pumping that iron. Keep stretching. That's good stuff. We already shared about our resolutions, and some of us are going pretty strong. Some are, tripping a little bit, but we all got
Working
each
on
other's
it.
backs, so we'll keep encouraging and helping each other out. So do you
We'll
guys
rally.
we'll rally together. Do you guys have a New Year's resolution for your superhero?
I want Henry Cavill to do another Superman movie.
Without a mustache.
Please. Oh my gosh. please.
Without having to spend a whole bunch of money to remove his mustache.
Oh, that was so awful. They spent all that money for what?
They
You
spent
could
all
still
that
tell
money
there was something
for
wrong.
something that I could do in paint.
Well, and they still couldn't fix his mouth. Like, it looked awful.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Anywho. Yeah, but yeah. I like to see another Superman movie. You know, I like him as Superman.
Yeah, he is a good Superman. I would say with Spider-Man, he needs to make a resolution not to give away his identity to anybody.
Absolutely correct.
It's funny. That's hilarious.
That should be an automatic resolution, but apparently he doesn't make that resolution or keep it. So,
Yeah, he does it without even trying. He just doesn't even realize he's giving away his identity.
oh, you didn't
Everybody
know?
knows who he is.
You knew the whole time? Yes, we all knew, Peter. How about you, Mark?
Figured it out. I'm gonna have Batman make a resolution to remember that vigilantism and marriage does not mix, because they actually had an entire arc last year where Batman ends up proposing to Catwoman, and it ends up like being like the day of their wedding, and Catwoman basically bails on him. So basically,
Surprise.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to be a superhero, a vigilante, and try to have a romantic relationship.
Well, I mean, you don't date at work. Like, I mean, she's technically someone he works with, as in he fights her and she's a villain. You definitely don't date or marry a villain or the people you work with. So that's
True.
that puts everything you do at risk. So
True story.
true story. To wrap up our favorite superheroes, Ash Michelle 86, our girl from Scotland on the Discord, she said, "Hey guys, say it's the end of the world and you have the choice of 3 superheroes to call for help, DC or Marvel. Which 3 would you choose? For me, it would have to be Superman, Spider-Man, and Thor."
It's a good trio.
Yeah, good trio. Got some
Choices.
power in there.
I'm only thinking of off the top of my head just because of what we talked about, but I'm definitely going to have Superman in the mix, the Green Power Ranger, and one to throw into the mix.
Now wait,
Something
the Green
to-
Power Ranger, he has his mech to get into, right? Like it's
For
not
sure,
just
yep.
it's not just the Green Power
Yeah,
Ranger like
yeah, he's
dancing
got
around,
his flute that he
sparks
can
flying
whistle.
off of him and all that. Okay,
Yep,
good.
for sure.
Flute.
Everything that comes with the green. Yeah, it is. It's his dragon flute.
I know. I
and
forgot
then-
about it. That's why I'm laughing. Dragon
that's
flute.
how he calls it. That's the only reason the dragon comes, because he hears that flute. I don't know. But then the third, I'm trying to think of something, because you always have to have something that's gonna like roughhouse, something that's gonna throw someone into the mix. Because the Green Power Ranger and Superman, I feel like they would get along. I think they get along pretty well. But to make it interesting, I think Spawn would have to be the third person. Only because
That's a good pull.
he's gonna do what needs to be done. He's really gonna do what, and the other 2 are gonna be the good guys. So you got to throw that dynamic into the mix.
All right.
Sweet. So for me, I'm actually gonna pull Batman, mainly because he is a tactician. He can generate a good plan.
Donatello.
Sure. Yeah.
I like it. Hey, don't be stealing my thunder, Patrick. Come on now.
Truth be told, like I like the Ninja Turtles, but I never was really like super into them. But in any case, Batman, Superman, and Shazam.
Yes. I love Shazam. Always loved him. How can you not love a kid who can just say Shazam and become a superhero?
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Looking
one.
forward to that movie coming out.
I am too.
But yeah, those are my picks for sure.
Good picks.
All right, you want me to give this game a go?
Do it.
Do it.
Let's hear
see
it.
All right, we're definitely going with Batman. I mean, somebody's got to lead the crew, Batman's intelligent. Then I'd probably go with the Incredible Hulk for muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd also like to add an additional muscle, and that is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I like it. I
That's
like
my
it a
team.
lot.
Oh, love it. Isn't he going to be playing Black Adam? Is he rumored to play Black Adam, or has he been signed? Mark, do you know?
As far as you know, in some way, shape, or form, he is playing Black Adam. As to where and when, nobody knows, but apparently it's happening.
Awesome.
Is it possible to explain what Black Adam is?
He's Shazam's arch rival.
There we go. Can you explain who Shazam is? Just kidding. We don't need to go down that route. So I really don't like to follow Ronnie because, I mean, who can top Dwayne The Rock Johnson? I think I'm going to go, my tactician is going to be, no, actually my leader is going to be Leonardo. He is going to be the leader of the superhero group. And then to go with him, we need very, very big muscles. So we are going to go, I'm going to go with Thor. I think his current power level and the current state of the MCU, he's right up there with Superman, I think, with what he can do with he and his Stormbreaker. So, hey, don't make that face at me, little Superman Jr.
For those not able to watch, Patrick is making a face.
He's making weird eyes at me for comparing Thor to Superman, but I think Thor can hold his own at this point with his electric shock and Stormbreaker hammer, axe deal, whatever it is. And then I'm gonna go with, to finish it off, I'm gonna go with Drax for the comedy relief, just to make a couple jokes in there, because you really don't want to. You don't want to go too dark. It's the end of the world, sure, but you got to make some jokes. You got to make things fun, lighthearted at times. So I think Drax would be able to do that for sure. So I'm going to go with those three. A little bit of an odd group of people, but I think they'd be able to pull it off.
Yep,
for sure.
So as we get to the end of our time together, as we wrap things up, I really want all of us to maybe share why we think, if we feel so inspired, besides the music that Mark's going to share, I want you guys to just kind of share why you think you or why people in general gravitate or relate to superheroes. What makes superheroes special? Why do we just enjoy their stories and those kind of things? So why don't we start, go backwards and start with Ronnie and then go from there.
Yeah, I would say, especially as a little kid, I mean, like Patrick was talking about wanting to be able to fly, like all these things as a kid are amazing. And as an adult, they're also amazing. So, I mean, you're envying these people. And like for me, like watching Batman and stuff, I thought it was so cool because he was a regular guy. And then, outside of that, he's this like crime fighter guy. So, I mean, it was just always looking up like, man, I would love to be that. Like, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but like I guess that's why I connected more with Batman.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Patrick?
For me, I think people are inherently good, and a lot of these superheroes are, they do good deeds. They fight, the good versus the evil. They punish the bad guys. They put them behind bars, kind of thing. So I think the good nature with these superheroes in fighting evil is one of the big things why people gravitate towards superheroes. And obviously, it's the powers and the ability to fly. Because kids have dreams of being this big muscular guy or muscular woman who can do all these things that can take care of the bad guys. But I think it's more of the good in superheroes that really makes people gravitate towards them.
Yeah, definitely, man. So definitely there's the ideal of the good versus evil kind of thing, and a lot of that those type of stories obviously we get from scripture, the ultimate like good versus evil type thing. They're definitely inspired by that, and then they're also inspired. They're basically our if you think about it, superheroes are kind of like our mythology, our myths and legends. Like you think about like the Greek gods and like the Odyssey and those type of stories. they are basically our mythology, our current mythology, and they are part of a lot of these characters are part of our American history as well. You know, a lot of these superhero characters like Batman and Superman, they were created right around the time of like World War II. Superman was 1937, Batman was 1939, and so, you know, you had a lot of these characters fighting the Nazis, and they were a means of escapism from the horrors of what was going on during the war, and they were a way to cheer people up, and so and that's a lot of what it is today, is a form of escapism, escaping into these stories. A lot of them very fantastical, but you know, they're in-depth stories. They're great characters. They're just a lot of fun, and yeah, definitely that good versus evil ideal, and yeah, I mean, that's basically our myths and legends of this current time. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I don't know if you guys have heard of something that's very interesting. You know, you guys bring up, you know, Mark brought up the mythologies of old, you know, Greek mythology and the Odyssey and stuff. I don't know if you guys have heard of the hero's journey, but it's a process, it's a formula of how someone becomes a hero. And what's interesting is it's actually a formula that's used in a lot of movies and a lot of books and a lot of stories, but it was originally like kind of identified and discovered by a man by the name of Joseph Campbell, after he studied a bunch of mythologies and stories across cultures. And what's interesting is that this hero's journey, as he called it, it transcends culture, it transcends mythologies and years. And when you look at like hero stories, they all follow a very similar process. You know, they all start out with an ordinary world. You know, like Superman starts out on Krypton, Spider-Man starts out as Peter Parker in a high school, and then something calls them to adventure, to be something different, to go somewhere new. You know, in Superman's case, in Kal-El's case, his world was destroyed and he was sent to Earth. Peter Parker was bitten by a spider, and then every hero initially, in some way or another, refuses or rejects that call to adventure, that call to be something better. And you see with, you know, Superman struggling as a youth, his adopted father dying, and all the struggles he has of kind of understanding who he is. You have Spider-Man and struggling in high school, and eventually, you know, meeting, you know, talking to his Uncle Ben, who is actually another part of the hero's journey, is they always meet a mentor. And, you know, eventually they accept the call through their mentor and through that relationship. You know, and you have many other parts of the process, like friends, enemies, and facing challenges, and that leads them to an ordeal. And each of these superheroes face what maybe is their original goal, to accomplish something, to get revenge, to discover who they are. And in the process of reaching that ordeal or that big struggle, they usually accomplish it, but then they discover that they're fighting for something bigger, and they're realizing that their original goal was not what they actually wanted. And it's really fascinating that when you look at all these stories and you see the process of what they learn, about what they become, these superhero stories, we connect with them because in the end, they're really our stories, and they're a lot of the things that they go through, even though they look different, even though, you know, we don't have special powers. A lot of those powers are based on the things we want. The emotions they go through, the changes they go through, a lot of ways are the things we need to face in order to become heroes for our kids, for people in our lives, for friends, for family. You know, you look at this hero's journey, and you look at the things that Superman and Spider-Man and Steve Rogers and they all go through, and we have to kind of face the same things if we want to rise above our difficulties. We have to find mentors in our lives. We have to kind of face our demons, or face, you know, what our true desires are, or, you know, become better than who we are right now. And so, You know, I think part of the reason we connect so much with superheroes is because they're us. You know, they might look different, they might have silly names, but they're stories that get our attention, but at the same time, they give us inspiration and they give us a desire to be better and to, like Patrick mentioned, to fight for the little guy, to fight for the good of not just ourselves but for others. And so I really love, you know, that's why I connect with superheroes and why I connect with the stories. Yeah, they're fun to watch and they're good diversions, but a lot of times I discover a lot about myself through their stories. And if we take the time, you know, whether ranging from silly stories in Marvel and DC going all the way to the best superhero story ever in Jesus, we're never the same if we truly kind of just pay attention and use those stories as a mirror for our own lives.
Yeah, like I agree. It's the human element to these superheroes that really draws people in. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. So, Mark, as we wrap things up, do you have some songs for us, some good old music to add to our Spotify list?
Well, wouldn't you know it, I do.
Fantastic.
So we're actually going to have more than 3 songs added to the playlist.
Look out.
This week.
What?
Yeah.
First time
Yeah.
ever.
I think you had some requests.
We did. And so, as always, you can check out the Good Morning Guys morning playlist on Spotify, where we're always adding music for you to get your good morning on. And so all of these are kind of, circled around, themed around, superheroes, or maybe they were involved with some sort of a superhero movie. First off, we're going to do Superman, It's Not Easy by Five for Fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Real good song. The next song is Seal's Kiss from a Rose, which was in the Batman Forever soundtrack.
Nice.
Probably the best part of that movie was the soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, Batman Forever was okay. And then Batman and Robin is just, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, but the Seal song lives on, and it's amazing.
This is true. This is very true. And then we're going to do the song Hero by Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott. And regardless of what you think about Nickelback, and I'm really not a fan of Nickelback anymore, but that song was awesome. It was on the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man soundtrack. So that was a great song. Still is a great song. We're also going to add Black Sabbath's Iron Man on there, which was actually used in the movie Iron Man, of course, at the very end of the movie.
Appropriately, yes.
Yeah. And then we're going to add Three Doors Down's Kryptonite. And then we'll add the song Someone Just Like This by Coldplay and the Chainsmokers, which talks a lot about, superheroes and their different gifts, but specifically they're just looking for that human element. That's a lot of what the song is about. So yeah, gonna add those to the playlist, and I hope you enjoy them as well as the others already on the list.
Well, fantastic. Well, that's all for this Good Morning. Remember to connect with us as a podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, The Good Morning Guys, or at the GMG Podcast. Beyond that, we look forward to talking at you again next week on podcast services around the globe as we celebrate the second week of the new year and hopefully continue our New Year's resolutions. Alrighty then, my podcasting brothers of just messed that up. Alrighty then, my podcasting brothers, Pat, Marc, and Ronnie J, and you listeners, our friends and family, go get your good morning this week. May God bless and guide your lives as you live, work, and game. Jamatane, and until next week.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We should totally make fart noises every time we mess up. Way better.
I know, right?
I'm thinking in my head, like, am I going to edit that out? Nope.
Nope.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
do.
you're
you
not.
made it
You
way
do
better.
whatever you want, man.
There's definitely parts in this whole episode we're going to be editing out, but that part right there, no way. That part
Thank
is
you
staying
so
in.
Oh, snap. Yeah, that just came out. 'Cause I
Funny.
was like, oh, I just hacked that up right at the end. Beautiful.